The one simple trick pro players don't want you to know. Although actually, they don't know it either. Well, whatever. Hello and welcome everyone. This is Nova, and this is a guide on how to use the Age of Empires 2 flashcards collection, which contains all 31 tech trees from all the civilizations in the game. I put this together after over 100 hours of work between my own streams, and by making use of it, you're going to be able to learn any tech trees that you need and remember them in just a matter of weeks, not years, just making use of a few minutes per day. So, before jumping into the guide itself, let me take a quick minute to talk to you about our Lord and Savior to talk to you about why flashcards can be such an effective way to learn this. Memory is a very deep subject, but long story short, we learn and forget a lot of things all the time. The key to remember stuff is repetition. So we're going to be using Anki, which is a free, powerful, cross-platform flashcard software that uses the space repetition system, which is even better. In space repetition, Anki is going to keep track of the things you're learning, and it's going to make you review them just before you forget them. If you compare this to, say, just playing the game casually, it could take years before you actually learn all 31 tech trees completely. So I talked more about my deck's features in the AoE zone post that I made. If you want to learn more about it, just go there, but here we're going to jump right into it. To keep this short, I'm not going to go into details about how to install Anki, but I am going to leave a link to the download page for the desktop version and the mobile versions, and I'm going to leave also a link to an installation guide in the description below. There's also a web version, but I recommend using the desktop version to set up your specific deck so that it meets your needs, and then you can use the web version to study afterwards. You'll also need to download the deck file from AoE Zone, which I have linked below from this page, and yeah, it contains a text guide if you want to go through that instead. This one. So once you have installed Anki, go to Files, Import, and select the deck file. So this is going to tell you that it has imported the deck successfully, and let's close this. And you can see the Age of Empires 2 Master Deck and the Tech Trees deck. So the Tech Trees belongs to the Age of Empires 2 collection, which I plan to expand on in the future. But right now you can treat both of these interchangeably. So if we click the Tech Trees one, it's going to take us to the study screen, which is going to show us the new items for today, the learning items and the review items as well. So new items are those that we have not gone through yet. Learning items are things that we are currently learning in this session, and then review items are things we have to review from previous sessions. There's a lot of settings for the deck that you can change, but I'm going to go into the actual studying and I'm going to talk about the settings afterwards. Click study now. So the first few items are actually hint items, and in this one you can see the version of the deck, you can see the balance patch that I made this deck with, and you can see the release date. We don't need to learn this. This is just a welcome screen, so you can go to show answer and it's going to tell you how to hide this item so that it doesn't show up in the future anymore, which is called suspending. We're going to talk more about it in just a moment, but for the time being, let's suspend the item. Let's suspend this one too. And yeah, these are the instructions of how to use the deck. So most of the cards have a question and a hidden answer, right? Try to recall the answer, then reveal it and rate how hard it was. This one is not actually a question, so let's suspend this one as well. And there we go. This is actually the first question of the deck. What is the civilization type of the Aztecs? So I already know that they are a monk and infantry civilization, and if we go to show answer, that is exactly what we get. And then we have some buttons that we can use to rate our answer. This one in particular was not hard, so I'm gonna rate it easy. Now there's another type of card in the collection called closed cards, and these consist of lists with hidden information. So let's see. So yeah, closed cards are used for civilization bonuses, and we're gonna have as many cards as there are bonuses for those civilizations, including the team bonus, which you can see here. Right now we have to come up with the missing team bonus for Aztecs, which in this case is that they start with 50 extra gold. So let's display it. There we go, perfect. And now you're just gonna have to go through all of the bonuses, including the team bonus, of course. Most of the questions for this deck are going to look like this. What is the X of Y civilization? In this case, what is the unique castle unit of the Aztecs? That would be the Jaguar Warrior. And you can see that we have a icon for the unit or technology. We have the name, and then we have the building from which we train this or research this. And then we have the age, the starting age from which this unit line or upgrade line is accessible. That is, the age thing is a little bit tricky, and I'm going to explain more about it in a moment. But then we have the tags list, which contains a tag for this specific type of card. Let's go. Now, for technologies, we're also going to have a small description of the tech below the name. Alright, so most civilizations actually get most of the top technologies and top units as well, which means that most get champion, most get blast furnace, most get plate mail armor. So the easiest way for you to learn the tech trees is try to remember which top upgrades and top units certain civilizations don't get, alright? So in this case, Aztecs do get champion, which is the top militia line unit there is, but they don't get halberdier, they only get pikemen. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to just assume that they get everything, such as champion, elite eagle warrior, arbalest, which they do, and only try to remember that they don't get halberdier. So by doing this, all you have to do is remember that they don't get halberdier, and then assume that they get everything else, which they do. They get champion, they get arbalest, they get elite skirmishers, elite eagle warrior, and it's only one thing that you have to remember as opposed to 5 or 6 for the rest of the units. Alright, so if we hit good, it's going to ask us the same question at the end of the session, and this is mostly to prevent guessing in questions with yes or no answers, such as do Aztecs get cavalry, or do Teutons get elephants, etc. Now we're gonna stop here at this defense upgrade available to the Aztecs, and we're gonna talk about customization. So now you might be thinking that you already know a lot of stuff, and it's very wasteful to go through all the combinations of units and technologies for all the civilizations, and that is true. So let's talk about customization next. Alright, so this is the infantry defense item for the Aztecs deck. Now, take a look at the tags, and you're gonna find the tech tag and an infantry armor tag. So now we're gonna go into browse, which is where we find all the items for the deck, and this is gonna open a new window. Alright, so on the left hand side we're gonna have a list of tags that we can make use of to customize the deck, and if we go up here to Age of Empires and tech trees, this is gonna show us all the items for the deck. In yellow are all the suspended cards. But let's talk about customization. Let's say you already feel quite confident about the unit availability for all 31 civilizations, and you are mostly concerned about technologies. So we're gonna go to the search bar here, and then we're gonna do tag, and we're gonna type tag unit. This is going to show us all the unit items available in the collection. Now we can go to edit, select all, and then we can go to cards, and we can toggle suspend. You can also, of course, use the hotkey if you want. So now that we took away over 600 items from the deck, we are going to take this to the next level. Now, let's say that you are already quite confident with American civilizations, so we're going to remove those as well. We are going to remove the tag now, and we are going to look for Aztecs, or Aztec rather. And this is going to result in 63 cards that we can suspend. Now, Inca, and finally Mayans. And alright, that is going to decrease even further our deck, and we can do any combination of suspending so that the deck becomes as small as we need it to be. If we are only interested in university technologies, we have tags for those. If we are interested only in monastery technologies, we have tags for those. Chances are your deck is going to be only a few hundred items long, but if you want to learn all 31 tech trees completely, you can also do that, which is what I did. It took me about 90 days. Now, if you want to learn all 31 tech trees completely, don't touch anything and do it. But if you want to study only things that are relevant to you right now, which is the things that you are struggling with, you can customize the deck to fit your needs. Alright, so that left us without the Aztecs. Now we are jumping straight into Berbers. So now that we understand the anatomy of the cards, let's go into customizing the looks. When clicking edit, we are going to see the text fields where Anki is getting the information from. You can also insert images here. Now, the most important field here for us right now is the notes, and this is what is going to allow us to introduce information to the cards. So we can use this for pictures, we can use this for text or anything, and I highly recommend you using this for mnemonic devices. So mnemonic devices are just pieces of information, be it text or pictures or audio, that is going to make it easier for you to remember stuff. So as an example, what I personally use to remember the fact that Ethiopians don't get treadmill crane, and remember, you are saving resources just trying to remember things that they don't get. I use a picture of Ethiopian architecture. Even though it's not 100% accurate, it's still going to help you remember, which is what we are trying to go for. You can use this area to indicate that a civilization has the same upgrades than other civilizations, such as the monastery upgrades for both Portuguese and Malians. And anything you put in here is going to display in the answer side of your card. So let's try. We are typing stuff. Now, when you click the show answer button, we are going to have a show notes link that we didn't have before. This is actually going to show you the text only. It's not going to take you anywhere. But now let's go back into editing. We are going to customize the actual look. If we go to cards now, this is going to take us to the card template. And there's a couple of things that I really want you to pay attention to here. So the jargon here is HTML for structure here in the top left and bottom left, and then in the middle left we have CSS, which is for styling. You don't need to be an expert to do this. As a matter of fact, I am not. I just learned the basics so that I could do this for you so that you can customize this. And yeah, let's take a look. Do you see how the numbers are green here? Actually, the percentages are green and the numbers, I think they are orange. We can change this so that numbers and percentages don't show up on the cards at all. So the way we do this is we go into styling, we try to find the number and percentage fields here, and where it says display colon inline, we can do display none and none, and that is going to hide. That is going to actually hide the percentage and the numbers from the cards. So this is fantastic for people who want to get a grasp of the tech trees without learning the hard numbers. I have personally changed all the technologies and SIP bonuses descriptions so that they make sense with or without numbers. So in this case, Team Castles work faster. It doesn't say how much, but it still makes sense, and it's what it does. And any changes that you make here are going to affect all items of type question and answer, which is the regular type of cards for the collection. So if you want to change this also for the SIP bonuses type of cards, you are going to have to change the closed type of cards. Alright, so let's close this. Let's close this as well. And now the way you access the closed type of cards is you go to tools, you go to manage node types, and it's going to show also the regular type of cards. So we have regulars and close. If we go to close and then we can go to cards here, we're gonna access the same thing that we were accessing before, right? If we go to regular, we can also access the same screen that we saw before, although in a more generic fashion. Now, let me make it clear, any changes that you make to regular or closed types are going to affect all items used in that card type, and it's also going to remain in place even if you upgrade the deck to a newer version that I release in the future. So you don't have to worry about editing all the notes one by one. You don't have to worry about losing your changes whenever you upgrade the deck, alright? All the changes that you make to the template of the regular and closed type of cards are going to affect all items making use of that card type. They are also going to remain in place even if you update the deck to versions 1.1 or 2.0 or anything that I might release in the future whenever the balance changes. And that is how you customize both the contents and the looks of the deck to fit your particular needs. Now we are going to discuss the studying settings a little bit. We are not going to go into a lot of detail, but let's go. If we go to the cog icon and we go to options, or if we jump into tech tree and we go to options here on the bottom, we will see the amount of new items per day that we want to study, which by default is 20. And if we go to the reviews tab, it's going to have a setting for the maximum amount of reviews per day. New items are how many items you are going to be learning daily from your personal deck. Let's say that you wanted to learn all 31 tech trees completely. That is around 1800 to 1900 items, and doing this at a rate of 20 new items per day, that will take you about 3 months, which is what I did. But most people are going to have much smaller decks after customization and using the filters. Let's say that your final deck only consists of 600 items. It is going to take you only 1 month of doing 20 new items per day to learn the whole thing, which is very fast, man. So even though you might feel tempted to say I can do more than 20 new items per day, you would be shooting yourself in the foot. Remember that you're not only going to be doing new items daily, but you're also going to be reviewing stuff that you learned in the past so that you don't forget it. And to give you an idea about the workload for this, during a loaded day, you're probably going to be doing in total 4 to 5 times as many items as the new cards per day indicator says. So it says 20 here. During a heavy day, you might have to review about 60 to 80 flashcards from before and then 20 on top, so that would account to about 80 to 100 items in total. Now you can do this in about 10 minutes or 20 minutes top, but if you do 40 new items per day, that is going to of course double. So doing around 20 new items per day is about the sweet spot if you ask me. Because remember, learning all 31 tech trees in 90 days is not a long time. And it's better for you to be able to stick with it and finish this rather than trying to rush things, even though it's already quite fast, and getting overloaded, overwhelming, and dropping it all together. So as a final note before I leave, I want to talk a little bit about memory. And if you want to remember stuff, as we already mentioned, repetition is key. But not only that, but also let's say that you skip 1 day or 2 days once in a while, it's going to be fine. You're just gonna have to study a little bit harder the next day. But if you're going on vacation or you think that you have earned yourself 1 full week off, your memory doesn't work like that. If you are trying to remember stuff, your memory doesn't really care if you are in holiday. So that is also why you want to keep the new items per day low, so that you can stick to it and you can get your daily repetitions over in 10 minutes or so. If you are spending more time per day going through flashcards than it would take you to play 1 online match, you are probably overdoing it. So the next step in this would be to make a stats deck for all the tech tree items, such as training time, training cost, research time, research cost, line of sight, armor, HP, speed, you name it, for units, for technologies, for buildings even. It all really depends on how well received this is, and the idea will be to make a version for Definitive Edition when it comes out with higher quality assets and whatnot. But let's take it one step at a time. It takes a lot of time for me to do these things because I am not a programmer. So yeah, hopefully we can make it happen. And that's been it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining. This has been Nova, and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Age of Empires 2 content coming up. Feel free to follow me on Twitch TV/Nova Inc. if you want to go there and watch me get absolutely destroyed while I try to get good at this game. And I'm also a caster for Boobly Official, so feel free to follow its Twitch channel to see me live or to subscribe to its YouTube channel to get more content. Bye bye everyone.